Good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, that means it's card class day. And I have such a fun card today, I couldn't hardly wait to go live and show you. So we are using the new Meant to Be, I think it was meant to be for me, that they would come out with this fun set. This is in my online store, which you can find at stampinqueenbee.com if you need or want any of these things that I'm going to show today. So of course we're going to keep working with the scrapbooking workshop Meant to Be that I have shared all week, because I really think it's not just for scrapbooking, it's for so much paper crafting as well. So we're going to use it today to make today's card, the paper and things that are in there. I'm also going to be using the Meant to Be stamps and die set. Good morning, Ty. And this die set, let me just tell you, when you see the things that I'm about to show you, you're going to be so excited about this. And then I'm going to be using the Meant to Be stamp set. So this can be for all year, it can be for Valentine's, it could be for baby cards. I mean, so many fun things that go with this. And it also coordinates with our other bee set, the Be Mine. So you can use them together and get so many fun designs and things. So let's talk about these dies. So we have two words that we'll cut out and die cut our hive. Perfect for my team because we are the happy hive, and so that's fun for those. But you know, new home or announcements, anything like that, all kinds of fun. There's the bee bubbles that will cut out the bees, but they also make good word bubbles if you wanted to use those for some other things. We've got the wings, some flowers, some antenna and heart, and a couple other things that will cut out the images. But let's talk about these hexagon dies because they are so super cool. So each one of these dies is separate, and at first glance you think, so here's the smallest one, you think that it would cut just to this, but it doesn't. So each die actually cuts two pieces. So it's actually going to cut this outer part and the inner part at the same time with the one die. So each of those does that. Here's the next size up. So it's got the outer part and the inner part, which is so fun because it makes these like frames, right? You could cut in two colors and flip-flop them and, you know, then have the outline. You could use the smaller one and look, you could mat it. If we took those off, we could mat this frame on the inside. So there is so much you can do with these. You can use them, you know, by themselves, separate, cut them through designer series paper, just get all kinds of fun with that. So I had to show you that because it's just so fun that these dies, I mean, as a standalone die, there's so much you can do with those window cards and shaker cards and, you know, just lots and lots. So I wanted to share that. But the scrapbooking workshop has all this fun paper, and so today we are going to use that fun paper. And for today's card, we're going to make a floating pop-out card. So let me show it to you. We are meant to be. And so it's a horizontal card with a surprise. So it's a floating pop-up, and so a fun fold. So when we open it, we're going to open it, and we've got these bees that are going to pop out. So here's the bottom. Let me show you from the side. So they're going to pop up. We're going to use some window sheets acetate, and so then these bees, look, they're like floating. Isn't that just the cutest? So I love this floating pop-up card. Fun fold, that's what we're going to make today. So let's start with making the base. So I'm going to use some bubble bath. Let me grab my trimmer here. And we are going to cut two pieces, and both of them are going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now, you don't need to write down any of these measurements because every week I send out to my email subscribers, my Buzz Bulletin subscribers, a weekly email that will have all of the supply lists that I use in a printable PDF that will also have all of the measurements and all the step-by-step instructions to make this card. So you want to make sure you're subscribed to my Buzz Bulletin. You can also find them later on in my, we'll call it file cabinet of resources, and that is on my blog at stampinqueenbee.com. So then we're just going to take these two pieces and we're going to score them at 3/8, which is just 2 little tick marks below the half mark. So we're going to get these 2 little kind of folds. So we'll do that. Most of the things we're not going to, I've already pre-cut for us for today's card, but I really wanted to show you the base so you could see how we got those 2 pieces. All right, so let's put our trimmer away. And then what we're gonna do is let's get our card put together, and then we'll do some stamping. So let me bring in some of the pieces that I've already cut for us, and we're gonna bring in some adhesive. So the first thing we're gonna bring in is some tear and tape adhesive. So you can see these 2 pieces here are going to eventually be put together so that it creates the little fold, right, for our pop-up pieces to go in. And so for this purpose, we're gonna flip those over and we're gonna put on the outer part some tear and tape adhesive on both of those flaps. So I'm just adding that to both of those flaps. Love our tear and tape. It's strong, but it's also easy. You don't need scissors or anything. You can just literally tear it and we've got that applied. I'm gonna take my bone folder and just make sure that's on real secure. Okay, so now these 2 pieces, when folded up, they would go together. We're not gonna put them together quite yet because we're gonna put together the front of our card. So I like to hold those together and kind of pretend that they will be closed, right? Because these 2 will go together in a minute, just like so, and they'll be together, right? So this will be the front of our card. And so on this front piece of our card, we're going to take some of that cute paper and look at those darling bees. We're gonna use that. We're gonna use, remember yesterday we used all those strips? We're gonna use another one of those strips today with our hexagon. And so let's bring in some liquid glue. And we're just going to add these to the front of our card. So you can see the scrapbook workshop includes so much paper, and it's got the cardstock, the white cardstock, it's got the white willow, it's got some of our 2-tone cardstock. I think it's such a value because if you were going to get all that separate, the sticker sheet, the DSP, right, it would add up to more. So even if you aren't going to use it for scrapbooking, it's a great option for all your paper crafting and card making, right? So then we're just add a little bit of adhesive to this strip here. And we'll add that right below to give it just a bit of border. I think this would be a cute birthday card, any kind of card, right? Okay, now I'm gonna flip this one over. So this is our top, remember? And we're gonna add this piece to the inside. Love that petunia pop. Petunia pop of color, right? Love those flowers. So we're just gonna add that to the inside top of our card. And that liquid glue gives us that wiggle room to make sure we just get that right in place. I put it all the way down to that score line, so it's just all the way down there. And then I'm just making sure that all of this is secured. My mark here is scored, and that is that. We have a piece of basic white that we're going to stamp on in a minute, and then we will add that to the inside. But let's work on our mechanism here. So we've already added our tear and tape adhesive to this part, right? And so now I have got some, hopefully you can see these on camera, but these are some window sheet acetate pieces, and I've already pre-cut them. But our window sheets come, and I've shown these before, but they come in a pack like this. They are 12 by 12, and you can cut them down. Good morning, Stephanie. You can cut them down. So they're just clear acetate, and I have cut them down to, what have I cut them down to? 4 by ½ inch strips, and there are 5 of them. And really the 4 inches doesn't matter. It's just kind of a starting point because we're going to shorten them in a minute. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to open this piece up, which is our top piece. And that's why I put the paper on first, so that I could do this much easier. So we're going to peel off the backing, and you may need take your pick tool. We're going to peel off the backing of that tear and tape. And then we're going to take our adhesive strips here. I'm going to peel off the backing of this one. So now remember, these are going to get hooked together. We're going to put our acetate on them, and then we're going to squeeze them together so that they make that pop out, right? So I know that they're going to be attached here, so I can flip this, take my acetate, and we're just going to put them on that tear and tape. So we're just going to add our 5 pieces here, and I'm just leaving, you know, a little space in between, maybe like a 1/4 inch in between. You could also do the outer one on each side first and then fill the inside ones if that's easier. But there's no kind of right or wrong to that part. Okay, and then this piece we know is going to go right on top of that. And so I'm just going to go ahead and line this up. So I'm just making sure left and right are aligned. And we're just going to stick this down. Hopefully my head's not in the camera view. But we're just sticking the tear and tape ends together. There we go. And I just kind of like to get both sides and then really just push that down. You can grab your bone folder and make sure that that is all together, and then close up our card and do the same thing. And so that's the mechanism of the card, and you can see that those pop right up. So now we have our acetate pieces. Let me try to turn this so you can see. We've got our acetate pieces hanging in the middle, popping up, right? And then we've got the top and bottom ends of our card that are now together. And yes, they do stick out for this part, but we're gonna trim them. So for this, I just like to use my snips because they don't have to be even. We're gonna put our bees and flowers and things on the top, you know, kind of like popsicle stick, right? And so I just trim them so you can, you know, start low, high, it doesn't really matter. But I just kind of trim them so that they're at all different levels. And yes, you could originally cut your pieces that way, but I have just found in doing a few of these that it was much easier to just kind of eyeball it. So I have just, let's see if I can put this piece here. I have just cut them to kind of various low, high, low, lower, and then higher. So just kind of different lengths, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna set this aside and we're gonna do some stamping. And Then we will come back and put the rest of our card together. I think this is such a fun card, such a fun way to do some folds, right? So I've got some basic white here, just a full sheet. And so whenever I'm using stamp sets, what I personally like to do is grab a full sheet of the paper, and then I just like to go to town stamping the whole sheet, die cut the whole sheet, and then I have leftovers like for my next project, right? So we're gonna start with some Pool Party. You can see I've got 4 colors plus black here that we're gonna use today. Let's start with some Pool Party. So we're gonna use those cute wings. And typically what I do is like this. So I will just grab a full sheet and then I'll just start stamping. So, and I'll just fill up the whole page. So even if I didn't die cut it all right now, I've already got my ink and my stamps out, right? So might as well do a full page and have them ready to go. So those are both sizes of our bees' wings. We've got the bigger and the smaller size, and I stamped those in Pool Party. So then we're going to bring in some Daffodil Delight. And let's do our bee bodies. Our bee bodies. And so we're just stamp those down. We're gonna need 2 of our smaller bee bodies for our project, and 1 of our bigger bee bodies for our project. But like I said, if I was normally, you know, just doing this, I would just carry these all the way down. I probably wouldn't have done a full row of each one, so I just had them, right? All right, so now let's set that aside. We'll need that in a minute. Let's stamp some flowers. So we've got bubble bath here. So with our bubble bath, we're going to just stamp a whole row of flowers in bubble bath. So see, they're just ready to go. We only need 1 for this project, but I just like to show you how I would do this, right? Okay, so we'll put that aside. We'll bring in our Petunia Pop. Because Petunia is darker, we don't even need to clean our flower for this part. You can just go right into Petunia Pop, as long as you do light first, right? And we'll need a Petunia Pop flower for this as well. We only need 1, but let's just finish our row here. Okay, so we've got flowers, we've got bees' wings. Next up is going to be the middle of our flowers. So we'll bring back in our Daffodil Delight. And for these, we're just gonna line it up in the middle and stamp the middles of those flowers. If you get off a bit, what's good about this one is you can just go right over it and fill it in. So we've got the middles of our pinks and the same middles of our petunia. So tell me in the comments, are you more of a Petunia Pop girl or are you more of a bubble bath girl? Or are you like me and you just love both? Okay, let's bring that Petunia Pop back in. And we are going to stamp some of our sentiment. So this is "We are meant to be." So in that Petunia Pop, we will just stamp that sentiment down. Okay, let's bring in that inside piece. So this is the piece that I use for, you know, where you're gonna write your message. So I'm gonna take that heart, I'm gonna ink that up in Petunia Pop. We're just gonna stamp that down in the bottom right corner. I'm gonna bring in some Memento black ink. And for these images, make sure that your Memento ink pad is fully inked. So I refilled mine right before that. That's going to be important for, especially for our bee stripes when we do those. So this is our little trail, our bee trail. So we're going to stamp this on the inside. So just ink that up real good. And I like it coming from that little heart. So that's going to be the inside of our card. So we'll set that aside. And now let's put our little bees together. So we're going to stamp these stripes. And so this is why I said you want to make sure your memento is inked up really well. You line this up, stamp that down, and then we get our stripes right on our bee. When it's not inked up very well, they kind of look gray. So whenever I'm doing these, I make sure and add a bit of ink refill to my stamp pad to just make sure that the stripes look real good. And we'll grab our bigger bee stripes here. Make sure that's inked up well. Line that up. Hopefully my head's not in the camera here. Usually I'm right over them, right? And then we want to make sure when we do this that we push down and kind of hold it so that your stripes get real solid. I've just found that kind of works the best, right? If you have a stamp positioner, like our Stamparatus that we used to have, they work great in case you need to add a bit more, right? There we go. So see how nice and crisp those stripes are? That's because I just re-inked my stamp pad, so you want to make sure you do that. Now our bees need faces, right? So there are these cute smiley faces in the stamp set. So we're gonna put these on our bees. Now one fun thing about these bees, you can see that's how we're gonna use it today, kind of a sideways bee, but we can also have our bee this way and put two wings on each side. So they're kind of multi-use bees, right? They can go either way. So now we're gonna do our smiley face, our other smiley face on our big bees, and the same thing. They can also go this way. Isn't that fun? These bees are just so cute. All right, I think that is all of our stamping. So let me just go ahead and move this ink to the side so that I don't put my hand in it. Have you ever done that? I do it quite often, right? So with our sentiment here, we're just going to take some of our snips here. You could stamp this directly onto the piece that we're gonna do, but it is so easy to fussy cut this that is what I did for our sentiment today, just so that I could pop these up a bit. And so I'm just kind of moving my paper along here, and you can see how quick this goes. Doesn't need to be perfect. I just kind of go back and forth, and then that's how we get our sentiment. Just fussy cut out, easy peasy, right? So to save us some time, I pre-stamped all of these, and then I pre-die cut them for us so that we did not have to, you did not have to watch me die cut all of these, but there is a die for each of these. So let me show you. So I already showed you these cute hexagons. Let me just pop that. So we have our bees that I've already die cut for us. We've got our wings here, our bees. We've got our flowers, and then our little antenna. And so with the antenna, what I did, you could stamp it. There is a stamp and you could die cut that, but I just die cut them from some basic black cardstock. So that way we would just have them ready to go. And I liked that look better. So I'm just gonna put those to the side, and then let's put all of these things together and our card will be done. What a fun card. I think it would be a happy surprise for anybody to get one of these kind of fun floating pop-ups, right? So we'll just go ahead and add some liquid glue to our inside piece here, and I'm just gonna butt this all the way up to that score line, and I'm just gonna make sure it's lined up left to right with my top piece there, and we'll just go ahead and adhere that inside. Now we're going to put our bees together, and then we will attach them. So our flowers will get attached. This will be for the top of our card, and then for our bees, what I did was I put just a tiny dot, hopefully you can see that, just a tiny dot of glue, and took one of these antennae, potato, right? And I just added that to the front. Then I took our big bee wings here and just added a little dot on each of those. What I love is with our previous set, when we die cut in the meant to be, we die cut we punched the wings and they were a big heart. But this one I love because it's different. So it's kind of the outer part of the wings. So we're just gonna kind of put that behind and kind of set that down. And so they're see-through. So for our pop-up card today, it works perfect because it gives even more see-through to see kind of our back piece, right? So they look like they float even more. So that's one bee. Let's put our other two together here. So remember, just a dot for each of their antenna. I heard somebody say antennae, so antennae. They're so cute either way, right? So we'll just go ahead and put those on, and you can have them kind of back or more straight up and down. Let's do our wings. So again, just a little dot on each of those points. You don't need a ton of glue to attach these, right? And we'll just pick up our bee here. And then the same thing. And since they're so delicate, the liquid glue really works the best. And we'll just stick that down. Okay, so now we've got all of our pieces. We're gonna bring in our mini glue dots and our take your pick tool. And so with this, the mini glue dots are right on there. You can kind of do a couple of things. You can just stick your pieces to the glue dots, because then when you peel it off, the glue dot is stuck already to it, right? So we're gonna take these, and let me just kind of put them upside down for a second, those two, and we'll grab our bee, our big bee. So this is the one that I liked to start with. So you can see I just got that glue dot right on the back, and I kind of decided, where am I gonna put this guy? And so I think I'm gonna put this guy on this second strip in, and actually it's a bit long, so let me go ahead and trim that off again, because we want to make sure that all of our pop-ups stay in our card, right? So we don't want them sticking out of our card. We want to make sure that they stay into our card. So we might even could put that just a little bit lower. Okay, so you can see I put the big one on first on purpose, and it sticks down here. Hopefully you can see that on there, and there is a bit more above, so you can add another glue dot there if you want. So for these, I just use my take your pick tool, so I have it on there, but you can kind of flip this up and add another one, and that just kind of gives it a little bit of stability, especially for this bigger bee of ours, right? Okay, and then we'll take one of these flowers and put on the first one. And you can kind of flip them. Do you want it before or after? we'll put this one on the last one here. So you can see they're all in so far. Let's do this bee. Let's give them some glue dots. Sometimes I just peel it back or peel off so I can just have that easier, right? Okay, so they've got those. So this one, we want to make sure in our card here. And then this one, he or she, right? So then we've got all those. You can put them forward, you can put them back, however you like. But see how they just float? Because we're using that acetate versus cardstock or something that you could also use. But this way they float and they are see-through. So when they open it and they have it, you know, they can even have it standing out on their mantle or their desk, and it will be this fun, that's how it will look, right? So it'll be like these bees floating in the air. So super cute. So let's put some finishing touches on our card. So number one, you can see it closes, right? Everything closes inside. Let's put our front pieces together. So remember I showed you those die cuts. So I die cut out of Petunia Pop and also out of Basic White. So we're gonna take our first Basic White piece here and we're just gonna adhere this to the front of our Petunia Pop. I'm just kind of centering that, but see how these nest together so it makes a beautiful border. You could have also used, you know, another piece of DSP if you wanted to die cut it through there, give it a third border. I just kind of liked the cardstock for this since we used a lot of DSP throughout. Now that word that we fussy cut, we're gonna bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals and we're gonna pop this up. So I'm just adding those, maybe one more. Peel the backs off of those. And we'll add that to the center here. So you could have just stamped this right on that white, but I kind of liked it with popping those words up. So it just gives them a little added dimension. Then we're gonna add dimensionals again to the back of this and attach it to the front of our card. And this card, even though it's pop-up with all its layers, it does go very well into an envelope. It mails for one stamp. It's not bulky, even though it has all those fun elements. It's not a real bulky card, so. There we go, we got those. So now we'll just close up our card. And I kind of offset this to the right a bit. And I kind of look at my paper. So I want this bee to show. So I think it's cute kind of poking out of there. You could have also stamped and die cut a bee for the front, but I didn't want to cover up these, this is off a bit. I didn't want to, there we go. I didn't want to cover up these bees with another big bee, right? So I just did that, and then of course it needs some bling, so I am using that purple sequence. This is free during Celebration 2025, and it is the purple sequins. You've seen me use them. We could use any of the colors really because we've got all these colors in our paper, right? We've got the pink, we've got the white, we've got the purple. I used the pink on the front, or on the first card that I made. Let's use the purple so you can see how we did that. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and I like to use the end of my Take Your Pick tool, and we'll just go ahead and put 3 of these on. So we've got 2 there. We're gonna put one more small one up in the top corner. So cute. So there you can see we've got our card. Just looks like a normal card, right? When they get it. Hey Argentina, good morning. When they get it. But when they open it up, what a fun surprise they get inside. And you can really see I arranged the flowers a little different in each one, but how fun to play with those and create those easy floating pop-ups that are So very fun, right? Thanks so much for joining me on What's She Making Wednesday. If you haven't yet, give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, share it with your friends. If you haven't yet subscribed, I'd so appreciate you doing that. You can check out all my videos if you've missed any in the past on my YouTube at Stampin' Queen Bee, or on my blog, which is kind of like my archive, a file system of everything, right? And that is stampinqueenbee.com. Have a great day, everyone. Happy crafting. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.